Greetings, my fellow normies. This is Scott from Just a Normie. I just want to briefly discuss episode 1 of Umbrella Academy, season 2, episode 1. I'm going to try and hit each one weekly from here on out and all that. So I'm doing this because I don't want to. I'm tired of doing just a review of simply um, doing like a brief overview of each, the whole season and stuff like that because of these shows that they just dump. You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna be short and to the point. I'm not gonna be gonna get into it a little bit here and there, but Umbrella Academy season 2 um, opens up basically. It kind of gives you an overview of what happened last season. All that, if you are not aware, the world was coming to an end. And number 5, the adolescent teen, whisked them all away to. He was probably hoping somewhere else in the future or somewhere else in the past, and instead they all got jumped to different time periods in the 1960s, all ranging between 1 to maybe 3, maybe 5 years apart. I think 3 years apart. So and all that, and all that. Um, all the while, the rest of the world of 7 billion people just went up in flames due to Anya destroying the moon, if you didn't know already. Spoiler alert. Um, so 5 uses his powers and he takes all of them, including um, the one brother who is actually deceased and stuff like that with them as well too. Um, so Umbrella Academy season 2 pretty much, you know, everybody's there, all the characters are there, of course, and all that, but they're all kind of dumped in different times with during the 1960s and all that. Um, I'm kind of disappointed with the beginning. Um, I thought that they were gonna kind of jump to uh, some other time or something like that. I didn't expect Dallas 1960s and all that. I don't know what the idea is behind it, but um, you get this kind of flash when they all jump into where they did and all this, like in this alleyway and stuff. And there's a gentleman on the roof that thought that they were aliens or something like that. So he plays a role in this with number 5, trying to figure things out and all that, where everybody went and all that. Because number 5 doesn't know where everybody's at. He thought they all jumped in the same time, same location, yet they didn't really, you know. So so instead, um, from what I can tell is that you remember the old gentleman that with the waitress from season 1 and stuff like that. He tells number 5 that you got to save the world again. The world's going to end in a few days again with nuclear holocaust from the Cuban Missile Crisis of the 1960s and all that. So, and that seems to be a common occurrence in shows when it goes back to that time period of the Cuban Missile Crisis between the Soviet Union, former Soviet Union, and the U.S., stuff like that, and that somehow Kennedy not being assassinated changed history and all that. And I just don't believe that. It just seems a little far-fetched, all that, and they kind of prey upon that a little bit. So so the last to arrive out of the 5 is instantly greeted by planes dropping bombs and tanks rolling through the streets. This timeline is the Soviet Union has apparently attacked Dallas. Yeah, and I forgot to tell you too that there's all these different like not only did they jump to different times, but they also like alternative realities and stuff like that. Five is watches as the superpower siblings fight fight it out, and fellow time travel Hazel, um, not supporting his usual trim suit and bushy white Santa Claus beard, pops in, pulls Five to the safety just as the enemy kills the agency kills Hazel, which I love Cha-Cha and Hazel in season one. They were really good. Um, I really enjoyed Cha-Cha and Hazel and stuff, especially Cha-Cha. I I'm not used to. I'm not a comic book guy, as you guys all know. So, but I think that. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Um, but I bought the comics and stuff like that. I'm looking forward to reading them, and I want to give my thoughts on it and all that stuff. And I hope you like my my thoughts on it and stuff like that. So yes, here we are in the middle of the apocalypse once again, with Five attempting to round up his siblings. You know, there seems to be I haven't gotten to episode 2 yet, so I don't know where that's going and stuff. I I just I wanted to put Umbrella Academy season 2 off to the side for a little bit. And the reason why is because I just had too much going on and stuff, and I wanted to be able to take notes and all that stuff. But I was watching Mad Men and stuff. It was 7 seasons, 14 episodes, 13 episodes. That was pretty good. So I don't know if I'm gonna do a review on that. I know it's a pretty old show, but since there's no new shows coming out, I'm kind of discovering a lot of new shows. So let me know down in the comments if you want me to um, review that and all that. But what I do like about the Umbrella Academy is that, I mean, I understand why they threw everybody into different areas and stuff like that, but they're better when they're together, you know, not the separation and all that. But getting back to it, with the stakes established, Umbrella Academy spends the rest of the episodes catching up on where all the Highgrave's children have landed since arriving in Dallas. Klaus, with his ghostly brother Ben in tow, is strutting around making enemies at dive bars. Diego has been committed to an asylum, befriending a fellow patient named Lila. Luther is working as a ballroom brawler and all-around enforcer for local night bar owner Jack Ruby, the one that killed Oswald. On the outskirts of town, and fresh off the brief heel turn that results in the end of the world, Anya has amnesia, has no idea about her powers or her situation. You know what? As much as they make Anya the most powerful and stuff, I've never found her character or the actress in general to be all that, you know, appealing and stuff. And I don't know what it is, but every character she plays is just boring and dull. And again, we're here at another important character, and it's just, you know, same thing with Tessa Thompson. It's just dull. She's just more dull than usual. Um, and from there, she's stress of how her superpowers and stuff. She falls in the middle of a street. I mean, she runs out into the middle of the street and she gets hit by a car. Reminds me of the time Marty gets hit by the car in Back to the Future and all that. And she also lands in Dallas, of course. I'm not entirely sure what time she is, but family takes her in and all that. She's nanny to a young boy and all this stuff. I don't understand that. I'm just kind of like, all right, whatever. Meanwhile, Allison has a very interesting arc, and she somehow recovered her voice and all that. And I'm kind of stumbled on that. I don't understand that completely stuff. She stumbles into an all whites only diner after her arrival in Dallas. She has embraced a new life of political activism and married another activist named Ray and stuff. If a lot of you are not aware of the time period in the 1960s and stuff, there were um, restaurants for whites and blacks only and stuff, and she stumbled into a whites only diner, and so they're telling her to get out and stuff. This is when drinking fountains were for whites only and blacks only and all that stuff. It's a very different time period than what we live in today, and I don't know if history really shows or teaches that very much, but I think it's very important that we understand the ramifications and time period and stuff like that. And I hope that they don't twist it too much, stuff like that, because I think it's a very important time in our history that is the worst of humanity, in my opinion, just as slavery was and stuff. But we got past it, and it's made us better as people overall, no matter where you are in the world and stuff like that, especially in the U.S. So, and we need to remember that as a people. But meanwhile, the Hargrave siblings have been scattered to the wind, as I stated, are already conspired to bring them all back together. Many of them are very reluctant to do so. A trio of mysterious Swedish assassins pop in and kill Hazel, like I was stating, to help Five out. Well, they consequently fail to kill Diego as he escapes asylum. They're clearly not planning to give up anytime soon. The Diego arc is pretty interesting. He gets stuck in a sane asylum and all that stuff, and Five comes in and kind of messes with his head, and he's on medication and stuff like that. And it's a very rudimentary. It's a very um, dangerous time for psychiatry and medications in the 60s and all that stuff. And as somebody with PTSD and stuff like that, and has mental issues due to my overseas work and stuff like that as a contractor, I can understand that. And I learned a lot from my own therapist and stuff like that to know that. So, but in the meantime, Five tracks down Luther, given his particular set of skills, but he's very reluctant to even fight this fight and stuff like that. So Five has got to somehow, um, you know, get his butt in order and all that stuff. But in short, it's a lot of setup without much forward momentum, and I totally agree with. I think the coolest part is kind of showing a backdrop of what's to come and stuff like that, and powers of all seven and all that stuff, which is really, really cool and stuff. It kind of expands on all of their powers. So I don't know if they've grown or they've discovered them or what, you know what I'm saying, and stuff. So maybe we'll learn that in the season. Uh, I've watched and listened to other people's opinions on the entire season so far. And I'm not going to take my opinions from them, but there's been some thought that the first part of the season is not that great, to the second part of the season is really, really great. They inject some political things and stuff like that, which were not necessary. So, but getting back to it, but you can see what's to come on the horizon for everybody, with yet another obstacle to their, gross sibling love story. There's surely an awkward conversation between Luther and Allison, of course. Everyone will need to make peace with Vanya for killing Pogo, and then less directly, everyone else in the world. And Klaus will surely do something to alienate and annoy the whole family, of course. But I also want to discuss, too, that, well, I'm not a big fan of Vanya. This whole idea of she needs to make peace for killing Pogo and the whole world and stuff like that, I don't think necessarily it was her fault. And I say that because Hargraves, he thought suppressing her powers through medication and not telling her what was happening created the problem. And I don't think it's per se Vanya's fault, and as much as I do Hargraves for the direction they did take. So I hope that they kind of explore that, because as much as I don't like the character, I don't think that it's the fault of that character uh, due to the destruction of the whole world and all that stuff because of it. So, you know, um, so and all that. And I hope that Klaus is utilized well because he's my favorite character, especially from season one. Season one is just phenomenally well and stuff, and I just love Klaus. Klaus is what really hooked me on the show, you know, and all that, and all that. But I really enjoyed it. But for all the stylish wackiness this premiere episode, I have to admit I'm a little worried about where this series is going for this season. What I've read, what I've seen already, and stuff. I don't want to try and influence my own situation, of course, um, to give you some idea and stuff. I'll give you my opinion, I always do, but I don't want to discourage you, of course. What's missing here is growth, they're saying, which I completely agree and stuff. There was kind of like 7 or maybe 6 different storylines, stuff like that, very briefly and stuff. Some were better than others and stuff. I kind of saw parallels from Luther being a brawler to like Wolverine and um, and X-Men and all that stuff, um, to Anya getting hit by the car, reminding me of Back to the Future and all that. Um, you know, um, there's no real sense that any of these characters grew or changed from the events of season one. You can only threaten to fate of the world so many times. That was another thing too. I wonder why they're doing this again. Then there's this danger of any time travel story, whenever everything can at least theoretically be undone. How do you know what matters? And I completely agree with that. And I suppose Umbrella Academy will have to rest of season two to kind of wrestle with that question in a lot of ways. Um, I'd really like your thoughts um, as well too. Um, what do you think about the just episode one? How Allison can speak again, or presumably she's healed. Was she healed because she was thrown back in time or something? I don't understand. Um, I don't know. I suppose it's too much to ask these days to actually have a character flawed. I guess I don't know. Anya, um, plain old character yet again. Should she, um, you know, um, remember what happened? That she should, um, dwell or I don't know, have a problem with killing everybody and so on and so forth, or is it just more or less Hargraves? So I don't know. Let me know what your thoughts are. I don't know if you watched the first episode or anything like that, but I'm going to try to go every episode, a thought session and all that. But let me know what you think. I'm going to close this out. Um, I want to know your thoughts. Comment below, like, share, subscribe, and take care, all my fellow normies. Bye.